The UFC returns to Manchester, England for the first time since UFC 204. How fitting, 100 events exactly in between one another. That was October 8th of 2016, headlined by Michael Bisping defending his middleweight championship of the world in a rematch, which again, how fitting, and we will talk about how fitting that is in just a second, against Dan Henderson. We did see Michael the Count Bisping get the victory there in what was his first and only UFC title defense. He would then go on to fight George St. Pierre in Madison Square Garden and have the final fight of his career against Kelvin Gastelum in November of 2017. And now the Octagon is back in Manchester, England, headlined by two title fights and two rematches. The storylines are aplenty, so let's get into all of the championship discussions right here, right now. We will start with the main event of the evening as Leon Rocky Edwards will headline and look to defend his championship once more, this time against Belal, remember the name, Muhammad. These two fighters combined have gone 23 fights in a row without being beaten, 13 on the side of Leon Edwards and 10 on the side of Belal Muhammad. For the champion Leon Edwards, that last loss came December 19th of 2015 against Kamaru Usman, and we know that since then, not only has Leon Rocky Edwards beaten Kamaru Usman 2 times to get the better hand of that best of 3 series, but he took the championship belt off of Kamaru Usman, defended it against Usman, and has also defended his title against Colby Covington. So he's going for lucky number 3 for the number of title defenses during his welterweight reign. And Belal Muhammad's last loss was January 19th of 2019 and has since tallied off 9 straight victories. And you may have noticed when I started this discussion, I said unbeaten streak combined for these guys was at 23. Well, why are we saying unbeaten streak? Why aren't we just saying win streak? Well, that is because these two have fought once prior in March of 2021 in a fight that ended in a no contest, right in the middle of both of their win streaks. So if we want to go back to that fight and for the 5 minutes and 18 seconds that we got to see it. That's right. This fight got waved off 18 seconds in to the second round. It was a main event fight of a fight night card. Leon Edwards was looking very, very good for the short time that we got to see it. As that first round went on, heading into the end of those first 5 minutes, you could tell he was really starting to find his range, get loose, and land some pretty nasty shots over Belal Muhammad. But 18 seconds into the second round, we did not get to see it through. What could have been for either fighter. For all we know, Belal Muhammad could have had a great comeback and won that fight as well, but that is not what we got. We did not get a victory. We did not get a loss. We got a fight stoppage due to eye pokes from Leon giving them to Belal Muhammad. Belal could no longer see. The fight gets waved off. They go their separate ways. And what has happened for both fighters since then? Let's start for the champion, Rocky. Almost 2 months to the day later from the no contest, Leon Edwards would go on to fight Nate Diaz, one of the biggest stars in UFC history at UFC 263. That was headlined by a rematch between Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. A rematch is just the theme of today's episode. We would see Leon pretty much dominate that fight all until the last minute of that fight when Nate Diaz rocked Leon very badly, had him on spaghetti legs, and pretty much everyone hated on Leon, gave crap to Leon, and everybody remembered Nate Diaz's moment in that fight, not the 24 minutes of a complete shutout that Leon Rocky Edwards pitched. However, that did earn him a title shot the following year, August 20th of 2022, in a rematch with Kamaru Usman. How many times am I going to see rematch today? I wish I would have said an over-under. And we all know how that fight went down. Kamaru Usman was en route to another title defense on his legendary reign at 170 pounds. But with 56 seconds to go in the fight, in the 5th and final championship round, Leon Edwards landed the headshot heard around the world. Bang, headshot, dead. He knocks out Kamaru Usman cold and becomes the new welterweight champion of the world. One of the most memorable, monumental moments in British, United Kingdom, English mixed martial arts history was due to Leon Edwards and that head kick. One of the biggest, craziest comebacks and knockouts in the history of mixed martial arts, in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And we would then see those two go to a trilogy bout. That was in March of 2023, last year at UFC 286. And in that fight, we saw Leon Edwards get a very convincing decision victory over the former champion Kamaru Usman. He won 2 out of 3 and cemented himself as the better man in that rivalry, and he made his first successful title defense. And we went from UFC 286 to UFC 296, where Leon Edwards would defend his title successfully for the second time. That was against Colby Chaos Covington, and a lot of people would say that that title shot was not earned for Colby Chaos Covington. However, that is what we got, and it was a shutout performance, dare I say, from Leon Edwards. He looked incredible in this fight, showed his improvements, and he showed those against Kamaru Usman and then leveled up again in this fight with Colby Covington. Not only did he control the striking as many expected, but he got the better of the grappling and wrestling sequences of this fight as well, stuffing takedowns from Covington and even taking down Colby himself. And now Leon is back for the first time in 2024, looking to defend his title for the third time against his, what I would now say, a bitter rival, Belal, remember the name, Muhammad. Belal has fought one more time since that no contest than Leon has. He has victories over Damian Maia, Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, and Gilbert Burns. All 5 of them top 15 opponents, especially at the time. We know Damian Maia has since retired, but all of them top 15 level guys. He handed Sean Brady the first loss of his entire professional career, and that was the biggest performance for Belal in the UFC. He knocked him out in the second round. Now, he has fought one more time than Leon since they first met, but he has not fought Belal, that is, since May 6th of 2023. So what is that, a 14-month layoff now for Belal, where Leon just fought at the end of the year in December. So he's going to be a little bit more fresh here. And these two have had a kind of heated build, if you will, during this fight week. I'm recording this on Thursday. The press conference has already happened. We are now just awaiting the weigh-ins in the morning. The press conference was weird. Belal was really being the bad guy, being the heel, the antagonist of this story. You know, he's in enemy territory. I figure he might as well play it as such, right? But he is getting booed out of the building. He's saying that Leon is scared. They had a little bit of a run-in in the elevator. Kind of a scene out of The Office. If I can find it and put it in this, you will be seeing it.
That boy talk. Eh? Your mouth is open. Yeah, no. Your mouth. Look, there it is. Look, that boy talk. You smell it? You smell it? You have the group right there, bro. You have a pack of. Where's the drama?
Even Tom Aspinall was kind of waiting off to the side, so it was the late camera pitch over to him, and he's like, what is going on here? Very comical stuff. But these guys are they bothered by one another? I don't believe that Leon is. Belal is sort of giving off the vibe of this is the biggest moment of his career, and maybe he's feeling it a tad bit, but maybe he's just transitioning into admiring being the heel. We've seen people in the UFC do this before. They just want to play the bad guy because at the end of the day, no press is bad press. So regardless of what people are saying about Belal Muhammad, his name is in people's mouths. His name is being discussed in the community, and that's all you can ask for if you're a fighter in this game. You want your stock to rise no matter how you can get it to. And the X's and O's of this fight are very fascinating when you pair what we already have seen from these guys for 5 minutes and 18 seconds. We know that Belal has very good grappling, a very heavy pressure and pace that he will put on opponents, press them toward the fence, look to drag it out, clinch them, take them down, etc. But with this recent stretch that Leon Edwards has been on, having to fight Kamaru Usman twice and Colby Covington, the two best wrestlers in the weight class over the last 5+ years, if you just dig through the stats and what they've done in their performances, he has neutralized their grappling. Now, in the second Kamaru Usman fight, the title fight, we saw Leon struggle a little bit, but the leaps and bounds that he grew from there to the third fight in the wrestling realm was unbelievable. And then again to grow between the trilogy fight and the Colby Covington fight, really it is unprecedented. The level that Leon Edwards, known for being a kickboxer and a striker, has come so quickly over this past year and a half at this point with his grappling, and with those improvements and another training camp here to prepare for Belal Muhammad. If he can keep this fight standing, I think it is a long night for the number one contender here. But if Belal can get Leon up against the fence and get him down to the mat, things get a whole lot more interesting. I feel like a lot of people are expecting this fight to go the full 25 minutes, but there's something there with this one. It's just one of those vibe type spots for me where I feel the rivalry, the heatedness. Somebody I feel wants to really make a point here, especially Belal Muhammad. He knows people aren't the biggest fans of his fight style. I think he would love nothing more than to have another Sean Brady-esque style finish here over the champion, Leon Edwards. And Leon, yes, he has one of the most memorable moments in UFC history, but historically as well, a decision-heavy fighter. So the stats may not go toward that vibe of me feeling we're going to get a finish here, but I do feel like the winner of this fight is going to look very good. It's going to be one-sided, and I think the winner gets a finish. So be sure to let me know in the comments below, who do you think will come out of UFC 304 as the welterweight champion of the world? Will it be Ann Still for Leon Edwards in front of the English crowd, or will it be Belal, remember the name Muhammad, potentially setting up the trilogy bout if he can take the title off of Leon Edwards? Give me all your thoughts, give me your opinions, give me your predictions, give me your bets for the main event. And from the welterweight rematch title fight in the main event, we will go to a heavyweight rematch, kind of title fight, interim title defense. Ugh. We're going in to the heavyweight rematch title fight. Tom Aspinall, the interim champion, looks to defend his interim championship against Curtis Blaydes. They first met 2 years ago. Both British champions, Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall, will enter UFC 304 as the betting favorites. Leon Edwards, at the time I'm recording this, hanging around a minus 258. Belal Muhammad on the comeback at plus 210. And for this heavyweight interim championship fight, we have Tom Aspinall as the current minus 375 betting favorite. Curtis Blaydes at plus 295, even though Curtis Blaydes won their fight back in 2022. But of course, he won that fight with an asterisk. We know what happened back July 23rd of 2022, the main event in London, England, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes, 15 seconds. That's all we got to see. They were just getting going, hadn't even got loose yet, barely landed, maybe one or two strikes here or there for both guys. Nothing significant, obviously, before Tom Aspinall blew out his knee and fell to the ground, resulting in a TKO knee injury victory, or loss, I should say, for Tom, and victory for Curtis Razor Blaydes. Prior to that fight in 2022, Tom Aspinall was absolutely on a tear, winning his first 5 fights in the UFC, 4 of them in the first round, the other in the second round. He has a 100% finish rate. He had just beaten Alexander Volkov in a main event spot before getting that second main event of 2022 against Blaydes. But since returning from injury, he went from July 23rd to July 22nd, almost a year to the day from that devastating knee injury. He returned and finished Marcin Tybura, and it only took 1 minute and 13 seconds. And then in November of 2023, on 2 weeks' notice, he steps in with Stipe Miocic and John Jones falling off of the Madison Square Garden card. Him and the backup fighter for that bout, Sergey Pavlovich, went at one another for the interim title. The most dangerous man at that point in the UFC heavyweight division was Sergey Pavlovich. I believe he was on a 6-fight first-round knockout win streak. Got knocked out by Tom Aspinall. It was 1 minute and 9 seconds before Tom became the new interim champion of the heavyweight division, knocking out the boogeyman in Sergey Pavlovich, who we've seen now lose a second straight fight since then. Tom Aspinall has made good on his injury recovery, having won his past 2 fights. And Curtis Blaydes has also fought twice since their first matchup back in 2022. He lost to Sergey Pavlovich in April of last year. That is what got Sergey into the backup fighter position and then inevitably to that interim fight with Tom Aspinall. But he did bounce back at UFC 299 just a couple months ago in March and knocked out the absolutely surging, at that time, Jailton Almeida. He finished him 36 seconds in to the second round with some nasty elbows from the clinch that put Jalton down to the canvas. In the story for Curtis Blaydes, I feel like he has always gotten right there on the cusp of a title shot in the heavyweight division, and then he would falter in the biggest moments. The poor guy debuted in the UFC back in when would that have been? 16 against Francis Ngannou, who has now moved on to the PFL. He gets knocked out, but then goes on a huge win streak, 5 win streak, as a matter of fact. But then who does he lose against in 2018? Francis Ngannou in a, you guessed it, rematch. There's another one, baby. But he then went on another 4-fight win streak. And then what happens? He gets knocked out by Derek Lewis. And then he goes on another win streak. Rosenstruik, Dawkins, and then Tom Aspinall. And then what happens? He loses to Sergey Pavlovich. And example number 1, what happened with the winner of that fight, Sergey? He went on to fight for the interim title. So every time Curtis is one win away, he loses. And here we are again. He's now fighting technically for a title, an interim title, albeit. It is the biggest moment of Curtis Blaydes' career. Can he finally put that story of his career behind him and reach the top of the mountain? And for Tom, he is viewed as one of the most decorated heavyweights we have ever seen in the UFC's illustrious history with this division. He's one of the most special talents I've ever seen, for sure, since I've been watching this sport that dates back quite a long time. He is just so fast, so precise, so technical, and so powerful. Light on his feet, light like a feather. He can just move around that cage. He is really, really a special talent, but he has to be careful here because Curtis Blaydes has been really the kryptonite of the heavyweight division dating back to when he debuted in 2016. He is one of the most decorated wrestlers over the past decade for this division, and that can absolutely be a problem here for Tom if he is not prepared. Yes, we've seen Tom rack up submissions. He's gotten takedowns so and so, but we haven't really seen him defensively have to deal with someone to the caliber of Curtis Blaydes, and that could be the biggest climb he's had to face in a fight so far. 31 years old for Tom, 33 years old for Curtis Blaydes. These guys are in their primes and they are ready to continue to prove a point. And the winner here will go on to have a very, what may seem to be on paper, historic title fight next, because as confirmed at the press conference today, which I guess it didn't really need confirming, we already knew this was the next possible route because this is the interim title fight. The winner of Aspinall Blaydes, the interim champion leaving UFC 304, will get to face the winner of Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. It was supposed to happen last November in Madison Square Garden, so let's try it again this November in Madison Square Garden. Jon Jones, the heavyweight champion of the world, we saw him win that belt last March when he came back from a near 4-year or 3-year at the time hiatus and beat Ciryl Gane in very, very dominant fashion very quickly. Stipe Miocic has not won a fight since the fall of 2020 and has not even fought at all since the spring of 2021 when he lost his championship to Francis Ngannou. I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic, to be quite honest with you. I'm not even at this point, at this juncture, that excited for that fight. This right here to me is the undisputed heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall, and this is his first title defense. And if Curtis Blaydes wins, I will then view him as the undisputed champion of the world again, until proven otherwise by Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. So give me your predictions for the main event and give me your predictions here for the heavyweight championship rematch. 2 rematches, 2 title fights, Manchester, England. That is a recipe for chaos in the brand new arena in England. Of course, that's if everyone is still awake when these guys are fighting at 4 or 5 a.m., but that's a discussion for another day. It is a heavy, heavy card for English mixed martial arts, and it's headlined by the two guys at the spearhead of English mixed martial arts, and Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall. So the storylines are aplenty. The rematches are there. The gold is on the line. All that's left is for a weigh-in, and then they lock themselves in the cage on Saturday night. Give me your predictions. Give me your bets for the two title fights below. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the two championship fights, my thoughts on the storylines and what is at stake in these championship fights, please be sure to drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. You can also join the community on social media at the BAJ MMA and follow the show on your favorite audio listening platforms such as Spotify and Apple. I release long-form audio episodes every Friday and Monday over there. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and I will see you in the next video.